Shalom, shalom, Yasharala. This is your brother Abinaya coming to you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. But first, let us give all honor, all glory, all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rukah HaKodash. Double honors to our apostles, prophets, and teachers of great millstone who have taught us this truth, who are the true men of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai on the earth today. Now, the lesson I have to do today, I need to put up this disclaimer because I did put up two lessons yesterday pertaining to the impending famine and the destruction of food, and where we have at the Super Bowl show, there was a Edomite pastor, a female pastor, kicking the Bible along with some other Edomite people. And on my video, they put copyright on the two videos on YouTube, and on TikTok. When I put it on TikTok, they say my video is not eligible to be on the For You page. Now, I've been having a lot of my comments removed of late. Right now I'm currently on a ban on TikTok, so I know I'm being targeted, but nevertheless, we're out here to preach this truth. Now, we are in the final seconds of the fourth quarter, and we are seeing all the moves that the enemy, the oppressor, is making. And the most major move they're going to make is the implementation of the MOTB. We have the head of the Economic World Forum, Klaus Schwab, saying that every human has to be chipped. And if you are not chipped, you cannot take part in society. To take part in society simply means you cannot access any goods or any services. You cannot buy, you cannot sell, you cannot trade, you cannot go on vacation, you cannot do nothing unless you're a part of their system, unless you have been chipped with their mark, unless you have their mark implanted in you. Now, this is what this video, and TikTok, this video is for educational purposes only. Right? With that being said, let's take in the video first, and then we'll go to some scriptures.
Of travel are changing. What you're going to need to travel in the very near future, it will not be a visa, it will not be a passport, it will be permission, and it will be biometric. Starting next year and fully enforced in the year 2025, you'll need travel authorization to enter most European countries. This information comes from the European Travel Information and Authorization System. You will need to apply in advance. It will cost you $8. They will use fingerprints and facial scan. And there are people who say, well, I'm not going to accept this. I'm not going to comply. Fine. Don't comply, don't travel.
Now, what he is, the point he is wrong on is by saying that your passport gives you permission. No. Even with a passport, you still need permission to leave your country to go into another country. You must have permission from your country, and you must receive permission from the country that you intend to go into. Right? Now, what they're looking to do is to make everything digital, online. It's far easier to track. And the surest way to make it online and to be able to track persons, he said biometrics. The implanting of a chip in your body can measure your biometrics. With that chip, that scanning of your hand, they could tell your age, your sex, your blood type, if you have any underlying health conditions, when last you receive a injection, so on and so forth. And paired that with the Neuralink technology, where they hope is to implant this small device, because they're trying to make it small enough, comfortable enough to make it implanted in the human brain, where everyone could have this hive mind existence, And as this gentleman is saying here, this is on stream, and pretty soon it's going to be enforced as law, where no longer would you need to have this passport. You see, they're trying to do away with this paper system, keeping of records. having it online digitally is an easier way to access. So let me say, for instance, in their society, you're being a rebel or a rabble rouser, as they call it. They could easily cut your money. You know, they could give you demerit points because China is already operating on this system. And with those demerit points, when you reach to a certain point, there are limited services you can access. Your money is very, so small, you can barely feed yourself for the time frame you're under this punishment. Now, this was spoken of in scripture, and let's go to it. 2 Ezra chapter 15. And let's start from verse 14. It says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein." So woe to the world, meaning destruction is coming to this earth. "For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hand. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power." So we're going to see what is common, something going to be commonplace, where folks no longer showing respect to the persons in authority. No respect to the police, no respect to the firefighters, the army, the politicians, the judges, so on and so forth. And if you look, do your research, look up crime statistics from around the world. We have persons unaliving police officers right now, attacking the prison officers, showing the fulfillment of this, and it's only going to get worse. Right? Verse 17. A man, pay attention to verse 17, because verse 17 lines up with the video I just played. It says, "A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able to." And they're going to make these measures more stringent. This is why one of the big plans they have is to make America into something known as the 10 FEMA zones. And you're not allowed to travel to another section in that FEMA zone unless you receive that approval. Unless you behave yourself, so to speak. You didn't do anything to go against the system. You didn't speak against it. All that they required of you, you fulfill the requirements. And that is what comes in. All this digitalization of information, of goods and services, is that with that they could have a tighter hold on you. Now, let me be real, they have been programming us with this for years. And you people, we all participated in this digital system and we wasn't even aware. And you may ask, but how did we participate in it? And you have a bank account? You work for an employer. He said your salary is $2,500 and he's placing it into your account. Is he placing an actual $2,500 in your account? Because per the system they're using today, it will have a paper trail because they're using paper money. And should you go over the counter, you'll be able to get your $2,500 cash. But what if you're using your bank card, you're making purchases? How you think it is? Does it have actual physical paper money in your card? No, that is a digital system. So the system is going to register the $2,500 in points on the digital system. And these points is what you're going to use to make your various purchases. So you understand that we have been actually a part of that system, that testing, and we wasn't even aware of it. It says, "A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of their pride the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods, because of the lack of bread and for great tribulations. Now, all these things are coming, and everything they're implementing is geared towards the implementation and the enforcement, the mandatory enforcement of the RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast. Also, this technology created by Elon Musk, known as the Neuralink, all these things are going to become mandatory pretty soon. So, pertaining to the video, very soon you will not be able to travel to different countries without having that chip. You won't be able to take a train ride, because right now there are countries who have implemented that chipping system where you don't have to buy a ticket to just scan your hand. This is happening right now as we speak. But right now it's you could still make the choice. But measures, laws, things are being passed in the background away from public scrutiny, where they're creating and drafting laws to make this mandatory and make it punishable by death or imprisonment. Let's go to Revelations chapter 13. And let's start from verse 14. And deceived them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And that beast and that wound they're speaking about is going into the Roman Empire. Because when you go into Daniel's dream, not Daniel, Salakia, Nebuchadnezzar's dream, he dreamed the image, the head of gold, the chest and arms of silver, the belly and thigh of brass, legs of iron, feet of iron and clay. We're dealing with the iron and the feet of iron and clay. That is the Roman Empire. And there was a point in time, now you had to do your research, where the Roman Empire was disbanded, or it fell to a man called Septimius Severus, who was a Jake. And this is how we ruled, our people ruled Europe for 1,000 years. Why the so-called Caucasian man went back up into the Caucasus Mountains and was dwelling in caves. So that was that wound the scripture is speaking about. Right? Verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And we have examples of that in history. Because the first thing the Caucasoid man did when he came into power, he started a period known as iconoclasm, where he deceived the world. He took all the ancient artifacts, the artworks, and he hid it, and he replaced it with images that look like them. Right? And remember, we also supposed to remember the Crusades. When you look at Christopher Columbus, when he was going to these places where had other people living there, which were Israelites, by the way, what they were doing, they were forcing people to adopt the Christian way. And if failure to do so was punishable by death. So that was to bow down to that image of Serapis Christus, or else suffer death. And today, fast forward to the time we're in, with the coming on stream and the implementation of the MOTB, that same practice that was practiced then is going to be practiced again. Where if you do not bow, if you do not take part in their system, you cannot access nothing in their society. Remember Deuteronomy 28:48 say we will have to go to our enemies for want of all things. So if you do not intend to participate in their society because the Father woke you up that the RFID chip is indeed the mark of the beast and you refuse it, what do you think going to happen? You cannot participate. And as a result of your non-participation, they're going to view you as a what? A rebel and a threat. And what do you think they're going to do? It's going to be death or imprisonment. Right? And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he caused it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, the RFID chip and the Neuralink technology. And that a man and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that had the understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. And thus say the scriptures, thus saith Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So everything that you see taking place today is taking place as one stone being added to the foundation to build up the MOTB system. And if by now you cannot identify or know for 100% certainty what the MOTB is, chances are big chance you're going to take it. Because the apostles have been telling us what the MOTB is for years. And if you do your careful study, you would see the MOTB is the RFID chip. Even Esau telling you that is what it is. The Father placed the Spirit on him for you to tell all you. And a lot of you still, or they calling it the chip doctrine, or they saying we crazy. You understand? Now, as I said, TikTok, this video is for educational purposes. And I know how all it is. This is educational purpose. Right? So, let me just go back to the disclaimer. What I originally had. Because TikTok, this is for educational purposes. Right? So, if by this point you cannot identify what it is, it's highly likely you're going to take it. You know? So with that, I hope this lesson was edifying. I'm your brother Benaiah saying shalom till the next lesson.